That let's say you put the black back to, let's say you put the black in the wrong spot, you put it there when you went to reconnect everything, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think it'll make a difference?
Yes.
Why? Good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
Monday, May 22nd. A few minutes after 8 in the morning. Here we are, back again. We got this Rheem Prestige rectangular condenser that we installed and haven't been here since Hurricane Sandy. And I know what you're saying. We don't really have enough proper clearances on the left side and the back side for this thing to work properly, right? But they wanted to put it under the deck. So at least I got that out of them, right? So we're here. We have not done any service to this machine since it was installed. None whatsoever. Mm-hmm. What do you think this is going to look like?
I don't think it's going to be that bad.
You don't think it's going to be that bad?
He's also close to the water, right?
The water. Oh, let's do it.
I'll say it's okay.
You'll say it's okay?
It's okay.
Thoughts and feedback down in the comment section down below. Peter, I should probably make them wait. But no, I'm not gonna do it. Let's go. All right, I'm gonna flip it around, and we're gonna take a look at this coil. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Oh wow. If you guessed, not too bad. You were right. All right, wow. So I'm using a 1/4-inch driver. Took the one screw out. Other screw's not there on the other side. Let's see how she looks. I'm sorry, I think I said Prestige. This is just a classic rectangular old condenser by Rheem. I loved it when they made the rectangular ones because the compressor, well, don't worry, I'm not going to show you that side yet. I love the rectangular Rheems at the time because the compressor, God forbid it needs to be replaced, is right there, Okay. Yeah, it was nice. This one's not the Prestige. The Prestige has that integrated circuit board right here. This one just got the contactor and the dual capacitor. So I know you've been waiting for it, ladies and gentlemen, so let me just show you. And voila, there it is. There's the dirt. Not so much of a fur coat, but if you get there on the bottom, yeah, she's good stuff. So we're gonna clean out. We'll take this top cover off. We'll remove the power from the disconnect. We'll pull the wires that are going to the condenser fan motor, and then taking these screws out right here along the side. This whole top piece will come off, and then we'll be able to give it a nice cleaning of the condensing coil. The bottom, which, wow, is pretty clean. A little bit of debris there, not much, and also that side as well. And then once we're done with that, we're going to check the capacitor and the contactor. All right, so Peter is using the proper techniques to disconnect the plug out of the disconnect. He has his left hand behind his back. He's using his right hand. He's not wearing any jewelry. And the purpose for that is, God forbid, let's say he uses his left hand. God forbid something went on there. The electricity is going to travel through his arm, down the side of his heart, down his leg, into the ground. If you're using his right hand, right, and something, God forbid, were to go wrong, the power is going to go through his arm, down his right side of his body, not bypassing the heart, and down his leg to the ground. So that's the proper technique to pull the disconnect. All right, so Peter has begun to clean out the bottom of the compressor compartment, also the electrical compartment, and we're not throwing the dirt onto the floor. We're putting it into a 5-gallon bucket. Why? Because we're professionals. We like to be neat and clean about it. If you're a slob, then take your debris, your leaves, your mulch out of your condenser, put it on the floor, and then step on it as you're working. And then as you hose down the condenser, get it all muddy, and now you look like a disgusting pig. And if you're making $90 an hour instead of $250 an hour, now you know why. Correction, in the company that you're working for, billing whatever you're billing. But don't be a slob. That's the only point I'm trying to make here. Don't be a slob. Plain and simple. Be professional. Demand the respect that you deserve as a qualified, trained, and experienced contractor, and the world will be your oyster. All right, so now that the electrical compartment is cleaned, we have 3 wires going to our condenser fan motor. We have this yellow, brown, and black. Peter's going to use the needle nose pliers and disconnect those wires. Yep, so our orange went to common. The brown went to fan. Well, you may want to use that. I'm just pulling on it like a moron. And then the black went there. Now, one thing to just pay attention on, like, I know that they're color coordinated here. Our blacks are together at the contactor, right? And this orange is with the red. But keep in mind that let's say you put the black let's say you put the black in the wrong spot, you put it there when you went to reconnect everything, right? Do you think it'll make a difference?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I know where...
Pop quiz. I don't want to put you under pressure, but we're under time constraints, right? So the motor is a 240 volt motor. Here's 110 volts. Here's 110 volts. Together they make 240, right? If you notice that the black wire was on one line of power, and the dual capacitor is on the other line of power, and that was the common, which was here, the orange, right? So realistically, the orange, could I put the orange here or there? Let's say I put back together. I was like, you know what? I forgot I put the orange wire on there. You think it would still work?
Well, oranges are common.
Yes.
I would say yes.
Correct, because common is getting 110 volts on one line of 240, right? Which is still there, and that's our thing, right? That's our power from contactor T1 to dual capacitor C, right? But if I put it there, obviously it wouldn't work. I may short out the circuit as well, right? So if I keep it there, and the brown to my fan terminal on my dual capacitor, it would work 100%. See, it's just, I guess for simplicity, you know. So we disconnected orange, black, and brown. We'll fish those wires through the bottom of the electrical compartment, and we'll be able to remove the condenser fan motor. Okay. There you go. And we'll put that off to the side. And one good observation here, surprisingly, right? We have no oil residue on the bottom of our condenser fan motor. That's pretty good.
10 years?
10 years. That means the packing inside the motor is still intact. Or it leaked such a long time ago, it's all gone. All right, so now that the top condenser fan motor is off, we're going to take this opportunity to, I'm just going to put the bucket in there next to Peter. And he'll take the very little dirt that's there, and we'll put that into the bucket as well. All right. I removed the screws that are holding on the cover on the front and the left-hand side. And we're going to use that to get in there. That side's pretty clean. This side's pretty clean as well. Could be better, but no, I'm sorry. That's not pretty clean. I misspoke. That is not pretty clean. So for starters, Peter is using the Milwaukee M18 compact leaf blower just to get rid of just this dirt, the mulch, all the dry stuff from the condensing coil and also the base. I like to do that first. Everything's dry right now. It hasn't rained in a while, so we could get all the loose stuff and all the dry stuff off. All right, so before we actually use the Viper by Refrigeration Technologies, we're going to give everything a nice good pre-rinse. We're going to saturate the coil, get everything loose in there that's caked on. We could have used a brush. I know some of you guys, some technicians out there like to use a brush and brush everything down. If I had a lot of buildup, like literally a fur coat, that's what I would use right now. But for now, I'm using this. This is my good approach. Saturating the coil, get everything wet, loosen up everything that's caked on there, and then let that soak in with the water a little bit, and then use our chemicals. Now, it's very important. You take your time with this. You're not rushing through this. It's not going to take you, 5 minutes. This should take you a good 10, 15 minutes of a good pre-rinse. Get everything loose. Keep in mind, nothing on this coil has been cleaned or touched, for 10 plus years. You want to make sure everything's nice, wet, loosened up, and be ready for the chemicals that you use. All right, so now that all of the coil is saturated with the water, Peter started using the Viper foam gun. This is by Refrigeration Technologies. They're not a sponsor of the channel, but if you reach out to them, refrigerationtechnologies.com, they will send you a free sample. And great communication. You know, I email if needed them, and the president of the company writes me back. It's very nice. Check it out. You don't have to dilute the chemical. You put it right there in the bottom, and there's settings on there, A, B, C, D, and E, right there on the top. Different ratios between water and the chemical mixture. And what's best is you don't have to rinse it, but we do, okay? So Peter's gonna saturate the entire condensing coil with the chemicals, and then we're gonna do a rinse.
Okay. So we have everything disconnected from our capacitor. We're gonna go from common. Check down here. We have a 4510.
Okay.
First part passes. Then we go back to common.
.6.
45 9.6 is that?
It's good.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But we're going to change it anyway. The unit is 12 years old. It's the original one with the machine. And you know what's going to happen. It's going to die this year on the hottest day of the year. And the homeowner's going to have to wait, you know, maybe a day or maybe less or maybe a little bit more for the service call to come out and then replace it. Hopefully it doesn't take out the condenser fan motor in the process. So they're not that expensive. Swap it out. Brand new AMRAD. Be good to. All right, so we replaced that dual capacitor. Contactor tested okay?
Yeah, I had 13.
13 on resistance? Perfect. So that gave plenty, while working on that, it gave plenty of opportunity for the Viper, the Refrigeration Technologies chemical, to work its way through the coil. 15, 20 minutes? Yeah, even better. So, you know, it's 5 minutes to 9. Let's do a good rinse on this, and they'll start buttoning her back up again. And this process, maybe take about 10 minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes. You know, we don't have to rinse it, but we're doing a rinse. You know, remove whatever's left on the coil. Now it looks like you got some staining and stuff. You know, maybe like oil residue just built up on there. We could use the brightener by Refrigeration Technologies, but I think we're good. All right, everything is back together. Condenser is running. We have a call for heat. We have clean air filters inside the home, and we fixed a disconnected return duct at the furnace. Now we're going to use the Testo Smart Probes, and we're going to check the refrigerant levels. I have my Smart Probes app, and I have it set for, you know, left side is low and the right is on high side. The first ones are the 775s. So this is a 1.8. Oh, sorry. These are the probes, the clamps. That's 118. That's for low. And this is going to be for high. Give them one little push. Next are 775s. That's the low. And that's going to be high. And in around a little bit, we're going to get some numbers right there. All right, so let's let this run for a little bit more. We have no subcooling, and pressures look to be a little low. All right, Peter, let's refer to the manufacturer's charging chart. There it is. Okay, we have an outdoor temperature of 66 degrees, so let's go to 65. And we have a vapor pressure, which at the large service valve of what?
96.6.
So the lowest that this goes is 105. So 105, if we go across to say 66 or 65 degrees, is 244. So the liquid pressure at the small service valve, right? If it was 105, it should be 244. What's our pressure on the high side? 227. So we are in fact undercharged. That means they got a leak. And we have a desired subcooling. with an outdoor temperature at 95 degrees at 8 degrees Fahrenheit. But we're referring to the charging chart, and we're undercharged. Let's explain the leak. Okay, we can have a conversation.
Hey, what's the conversation?
The conversation is that the system is low on refrigerant. What that means is low on the gas or the freon, whatever you want to call it. It's Puron. It's
Freon's a thing of the past, right?
yeah, it runs on Puron. And we have equipment that we hook up to the machine, and it tells us what the pressures and temperatures are of the system. And they're lower than what they should be.
Right.
Normally, you know, it's like, oh, it's a little cold outside. Because listen, we haven't even put out announcements yet for tune-ups, but it's 66 degrees. I need a minimum of 60 degrees in order to test.
Right.
So normally I say, it's fine. But I have equipment that measures, and this is what it tells me. So it's a little low. So now we have a conversation, and I have a disclaimer here, actually.
Boy, if something goes wrong,
No, because
Right.
since you're low in refrigerant, there's 5 things that you can do right now. Number 1, you do nothing.
Right.
And if you do nothing,
What's that cost?
right? If you do nothing, right? You have this form that you're going to sign. I'm going to read it to you anyway, right? It could be costly. Number 1, because the system doesn't have enough refrigerant, it's going to be more expensive to run because now it's running for longer.
Right.
Make sense? You'll have a decreased life expectancy in the compressor. And because we know that there's not enough refrigerant in the system, there must be a leak, unless someone took it out. No one took it out, so it means you have a leak. And listen, it's not a perfect world, but I've unfortunately had systems that are 24 hours that develop a leak, and I need to be replaced that component. And I have systems that are 30 years old, and it's time for it to go. Okay, so number 1, you could do nothing. Number 2, we could add a sealant to the system. Which number 2, I can just add more refrigerant. Right. Top it off. Keep in mind, it's not like oil in the car that you change. Once in a blue moon. Once every X amount of miles. It's leaking, so you're gonna have to replace it again. So number 2, you could add more refrigerant. It's gonna get expensive and more costly to do this over time because things aren't getting cheaper, unfortunately. Number 3, we can add a sealant to the system. There's no guarantee the sealant will work, but something's better than nothing. Number 4, we look for the leak. Based on experience, it's probably in the evaporator coil inside the house. But it could be in the outdoor unit. It's rare, but it does happen.
And that evaporator coil
is above the furnace.
It's above the furnace.
It's above the furnace. There's the box that's sitting above the furnace. Okay. And number 5, you replace the equipment. Okay. Those are the things I have this disclaimer form, which now you're going to read and sign. But I have to explain it to you because I'm professional. And there are more lawyers out there than there are of me. We added almost a pound, 0.8, and we'll take a look at 70 degrees now, by the way. We're almost 111 PSI, 268 on the high. We have a subcooling of only 3.2, but if we take a look at our temperature and pressure charging chart, let's say it's 109. What are we at, 110 now? No, 110. So let's say 109, let's go to, So 109 and then 70 degrees, 266. Wow, 266. And we're not exactly at 109, right? We're at 110 and a half. Yeah, it's bouncing around a little bit, but look at that, pound, not even. See? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this quick little video. Did a little electrical overview with Peter. Partial disassembly of the condensing unit. Made the customer aware of the 5 things that you can do when you're low in refrigerant. It's good to explain these things to your homeowners. Leave no stone unturned, We were there for a basic maintenance, ended up replacing the capacitor inside, the capacitor outside, acid wash the coil, sold him a service plan, the maintenance plan. He likes the peace of mind. Granted, he's been neglecting that system for quite some time. But we haven't done any maintenance on that machine ever. He goes, oh, you were here a few years ago, 3 years ago. I pulled it up. It was March of 2018, and he had no heat because the rollout switch on the furnace decided to give way. So, thank you so much. Smash that thumbs up button. Consider subscribing. Catch you on the next one. Be well. God bless. Stay safe.